A.U.M. We are live, and I'm your host, Callie Fedosinko of Callie Collective, a digital marketing agency designed to build relationships between financial advisors and their target audience through data-driven, custom content, websites, and advertising. With the SEC's allowance of testimonials, you're likely trying to craft the perfect testimonial strategy. Today, we're talking with testimonials and review expert Tom Belanda of Trustpilot about the best methods to get and maintain client testimonials. Keep in mind that Tom is not with FINRA or the SEC, so you'll want to double check with your firm's compliance department before implementing any of the strategies we discuss. And as always, make sure to ask your questions in the comments as we go along. We'll see them on our end and answer them as they come in. Welcome, Tom. How are you?
Thanks, Callie. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How was your Easter?
It was good.
Yeah.
Luckily not too eventful, so pretty
Chill.
mellow. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. So let me start off by saying, let's assume our audience doesn't know what Trustpilot is or why you're considered a testimonial expert. Can you give us a quick overview?
Sure. And now, since some of the audience may not have recognized the Trustpilot name after this session, they may see it in a lot of different commercials on TV. You'll see it on insurance and some banks. They'll use it. But Trustpilot.com is a website where consumers go to help each other decide where to buy, whether it's a product or service. And businesses of all industries have profiles on Trustpilot. But the value that we really bring to consumers is very clear in our numbers. Last year, we had over 54 million new reviews written, and the platform has over 57 million active users a month.
Wow.
So it's been growing pretty quickly in terms of the traffic that it receives.
How old is Trustpilot?
We've been around since 2008. It was founded in Europe, but it is a global company, and Trustpilot.com is now in the top 1% of websites visited.
Oh, wow.
So the domain authority is quite strong.
Yeah.
But the value that it brings for businesses that are, have a presence on Trustpilot, there are three parts of it.
Yeah.
The first, as you can imagine, it's in the name, it's build trust. By collecting reviews from their customers, prospective clients or customers will see that, and they see that they're open to collecting feedback and are confident that it'll be good feedback. Two is grow. With those reviews, with those good scores and a great presence on Trustpilot, they can leverage that credibility to showcase in their advertising, whether it's social media ads, display ads, TV, and those 57 million active users, if they see that in the commercial there or see that in an ad, they're going to think that brand is a lot more credible and a lot more trustworthy.
Right.
And the last part for businesses is improve, because they're collecting feedback from their customers, and hopefully it's really good feedback. Sometimes they're going to get some 1-star reviews, but those reviews have incredible insight buried with them. And there are ways that businesses can help improve their customer service strategy, maybe their product strategy, maybe shipping. There are things that may not be within the brand's immediate purview that reviews will reveal.
Yeah, that's so true. 5 years ago, all we heard was SEO. And a lot of people. So actually, let me define that for our audience. SEO is search engine optimization, meaning how can you optimize your site to be ranked higher on a search engine? How do reviews affect SEO?
It's a good question, and I think SEO has been a strategy that retail brands or a lot of consumer-facing goods and services have used before, because when consumers start their search for a new service provider, item, whatever it might be, they usually start on Google. If they don't know exactly what brand they want to go to, they look for the best blank around, best blank for my certain situation, but whatever it might be. When consumers search that in Google or Bing or Yahoo, whatever search engine, the search engine looks for sites that have what the consumer searched in that search bar on their website or on a landing page. So the more reviews that are written about, say, for a financial advisor, really helped me through my, financial planning in this year. It was really helpful. Saw a great return. It was very, very attentive throughout the entire time. Whenever new customers are searching for that type of service, those reviews will help your site rank higher in organic search.
Doesn't matter where, okay, Google obviously is the most used search engine. Google has their own set of reviews. Are those going to be ranked higher than a review on Trustpilot?
Also a good question, and they're very different. So Google has multiple types of reviews. They have shopping reviews, which are on an individual product for, say, retail. They have Google My Business reviews, is what you see on, say, the right side of a Google search, where you see in a business profile and their ranking and reviews. Those are Google My Business reviews, have to be basically collected manually, one at a time.
Right.
But on the organic search results side, they rank Trustpilot as high as any Google review. And you'll see that in a lot of paid ads. You might see some gold stars under some paid ads. If you click into those, a lot of the trust businesses that collect reviews on Trustpilot, those reviews they collect on Trustpilot will power those gold stars, which they call Google seller ratings.
Okay. Okay, you mentioned if you're getting Google reviews, you have to get one at a time. Let's talk about getting reviews. What are the best practices for getting a review from a client?
Well, to take a step back, I will say that reviews have historically been associated with retail, with online e-commerce. And I've been in the review space for about 8 years now, working with a lot of e-com brands, but it's been a very gradual shift over service providers. And the best practice is be proactive. Ask all of your customers to write a review. Because if you're not proactive, you're relying on the customers that take out the extra effort to write a review.
Which is usually the unhappy ones.
You're usually going to find customers that are just trying to vent.
Right.
Make their voice heard. But if you make the review submission or collection process seamless, you're going to collect a lot of positive reviews and a lot of positive feedback on, inherently a good product or service.
Yeah. And we've also, I know Trustpilot has that guide, which we just had up a moment ago. Tell us a little bit about that guide. What's on there? What can people expect if they download it?
Yeah, reviews are new. They're scary terrain for finance right now, because it was only in fall of 22 that they finalized the rule, the marketing rule.
Right.
And the guide that Trustpilot published last year is really to help financial brands navigate these new waters. And a lot of it is the best practices that we've shared with businesses this whole time. Be proactive. Invite all customers to write a review. There's no cherry picking, or what we call trying to look for the favorable customers and ask them to write a review. But once you do get a positive score on Trustpilot, the goal is to use that in marketing. Showcase it. Show it off. Let your customers' voice do the selling for you.
Yeah. Okay. So we're asking our clients for reviews, and they start giving us reviews. Chances are they're not going to write their review multiple times. So what have you found is the best place or most important place to keep their reviews?
I have a bit of a bias, but
of course,
with Trustpilot, they're able to really take a shortcut around the manual processes that, say, Google or Yelp or Better Business Bureau might have.
Yeah.
So when you're able to collect reviews at a high scale and a high volume, that's the most important thing. Volume is key. For reviews, volume is the name of the game.
Interesting.
And if you want to look for a platform and a tool that allows you to automate that process, so you're not manually inviting every customer, one by
Right. Right.
one. So with Trustpilot, businesses are able to automate that process and trigger a review invite to go out after, say, a confirmation email of, you finished your appointment with your advisor,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
quarterly review, something like that. So those automated processes make it a lot easier for businesses to collect the reviews.
Right.
And then once they get the good reviews, and I'm sure we'll get to how they can respond to them and
Yeah.
really interact with the customer.
Great.
But once they get their reviews collected, showcase them. Show that social proof around any place that you think is going to influence a new customer to buy.
Yeah. Okay, you mentioned volume is the name of the game. Is there a percentage that advisors should be aiming for? Like 50% of their clients should leave a review, or I don't know, whatever it might be.
I think that it's less on how many reviews they collect.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses have control over how many people they invite to write a review.
Hmm.
That's what they can control, and that's what we
Yeah.
suggest. They invite everybody.
Right.
Make sure there's no discrepancy between how many customers they have and how many invites they've sent out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If they get 20% of their customers writing a review, that's great. And respond to those reviews, because that's really good content. And it's great for SEO, for new customers trying to search for that service.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you brought up the responding, because my understanding has been that with the SEC rule, advisors aren't allowed to respond to reviews, but it sounds like they can. So, and also, I mean, what the heck do you do if you get a bad review?
Well, so bad reviews can be good.
Yeah.
Bad reviews actually can be a really good opportunity for
Mm.
businesses to, one, win a disgruntled customer back, and
Mhm.
two, show other new customers that they really care about what customers, even if it's not positive, that they want to improve their service and they
Right.
really care what customers have to say. But responding to reviews, that I think I was going to say it's a common misconception, but it's not common. It's new to the
Yeah.
finance
Right.
industry.
Yeah.
But no, financial institutions and advisors, they can absolutely respond to reviews as long as the review is collected ethically.
Mm.
And what that means is, if they asked one of their customers to write a review, one, they can't tell them what to say.
Mhm.
They can't
Of course.
incentivize them to write a review. They
Yeah.
can't give them a cash discount or something like that. And it needs to be a client, needs to be a confirmed client of theirs.
Mm.
So when they're collecting reviews ethically,
Mhm.
they can and should respond to every single review, whether it's
Mm.
good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Because
That's what I was gonna
responding
ask.
to
If
the
you start
review,
responding to poor reviews, I imagine you should also respond to the good ones to keep it
not only
balanced.
does it show more engagement between the
Yeah.
brand, and it shows that they care what everyone has to say, but it
Right.
also is great for SEO,
Yeah.
because that's more content on the page.
Right.
And the more content that's on that page that references their types of services, in their response, you want to say thank you so much for your positive review on our financial
Right.
services.
Yeah.
That's the more that you mention
Mhm.
what the unique identifier is of your brand, what
Mhm.
you're trying to win customers for. The more you mention that on the internet, the more your business is going to be discovered.
Hmm. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so bad reviews, not necessarily a bad thing. Of course, we'd all rather have good reviews. Is there an optimal time to ask for a review from a client that maybe they're more likely to give a good review?
That also, it's kind of new territory, because
Yeah.
this is just a couple of years in, not even, in the finance industry, but within other service-based industries like insurance. Reviews
Yeah.
are huge in insurance.
Mm.
Um, they There are a lot of opportunities to ask a customer for a review. You don't have to just
Mm.
ask them once. You can ask them, for a
Several times.
financial advisor. It might be after the quarterly reviews or an
Right.
annual. You don't want to ask them too many times throughout the year. But typically it's right after you've delivered your service,
Mm.
as soon after as you can. I mean, for example, I went to Guitar Center recently, and they asked me for a review immediately after I left the store. And that's when I was the happiest, because that's right after I got all my help. That's
Right.
I had closed everything off. I got what I needed done.
Yeah.
And if they waited maybe a week later, I probably wouldn't even
Right.
bother.
Right. Is there an ideal length of a review?
Ooh. Ideally for Trustpilot, anyways, short anecdotal content's great,
Oh,
because it's
okay.
easier for a customer to write. They're
Yeah.
not going to write a whole essay.
Yeah.
But as long as it mentions something about the service and it has some of those keywords, then perfect.
I
If
love
it is
that.
a long review and it includes a lot of
Yeah. Right.
intricacies about the service and more in-depth keywords, phenomenal.
Mm.
But what you're going to look for in those longer reviews are the customer insights. That's where you're going to find more useful information to take internally.
I will say, from a website design aspects, the long reviews are really difficult to get on, especially if you're doing like a whole page of the reviews. It's a little challenging to fit them all in there. Speaking of, reviews, length of review, what about a type of review? Like right now, everybody's getting involved with video, as they should. It's got great engagement. Do video testimonials do better than written testimonials? I don't really know if there's anything else besides written and video. Are there audio testimonials?
I don't think they do voice recordings for reviews. I think a healthy mix is always beneficial. I mean, the quick anecdotal content that you collect, say via Trustpilot or via written reviews, that's great to use as a snippet in an ad, or showcasing on your homepage. That is easily digestible for a new customer to say, "Oh, credibility," and they don't have to sit down for 5 minutes to read it. Video, it's going to be longer form content.
Yeah.
So it is really nice to have that, more personal and firsthand view at the review that a customer would be, otherwise writing out. But I wouldn't say that it's more effective. I think that having, a diverse mix of customer feedback and social proof is a good way to go.
All right. What about a rating for a review? So, we talked about like, hey, bad reviews, not necessarily bad. Short reviews, good. Is there an ideal rating? Because like I know on Amazon, 4 stars is better than 5 because it's considered to be more reliable. Like, oh, we know they're not buying the reviews. Have you found that with overall businesses and specifically financial institutions?
I think, like we said, bad reviews aren't necessarily bad. So having some 1-star, 1, 2, and 3-star reviews, that's as long as you respond to them, as long as you pay attention to them and you respond to the customer and engage with them, not a bad thing. Can actually turn into a good thing. And with Trustpilot, if someone writes a bad review or a 1-star review and the business responds to them, that customer who wrote that 1-star review gets an email alert that the business responded to them and an opportunity to update the review. So maybe if they were just disgruntled or they had a bad day, which we all do, that's where a business can catch it and really improve it on the spot. But I'm glad you mentioned 4-star reviews.
Yeah.
They are probably what consumers are most drawn to when they are on the fence about a brand. And they want to see because 4-star reviews are gold for businesses. They should take them and they should, circulate them internally, because they have a happy customer there that would change 1 or 2 things. And those 1 or 2 things are usually easily fixable.
Yeah. I've got this QR code for our audience up in the corner. Can you tell me a little bit about Credibly? Because if I remember correctly, they had poor reviews and they kind of like use that as momentum for their business.
Right. So Credibly, the online loan provider, they began working with Trustpilot, and they had a lot of reviews on trustpilot.com where consumers took it upon themselves to write it. And naturally, a number of them were 1 and 2 stars. They started working with us in 2021. and they wanted to focus on fixing their Trustpilot presence, make sure that they looked a little bit more credible. And within a year, they went from a 3.2 average rating to a 4.8, and it's remained there since.
Wow.
And because the company gets an average of 300 reviews a year, because they're inviting everybody to write a review,
right,
compared to the maybe 12 to 50 reviews prior, the more volume that they collect of mostly happy customers, mostly fully satisfied customers, they have maintained a very credible reputation, not just on Trustpilot, but because Trustpilot is so highly visited and our domain authority is incredibly strong. Businesses looking for reviews will often end up at a Trustpilot profile.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. You mentioned their clients, customers were going on and giving a review without being prompted. How do you avoid getting reviews from someone who was never a client?
There are bad actors out there. There's always going to be bad actors out there, and there will always be fake reviews out there. Platforms like Trustpilot, we have a team of people that are determined and they're fully committed to going through all the potentially fake reviews of maybe competitor businesses that want to make a business look bad, whatever it might be. If a business is proactive about managing their online reputation, there are ways to flag what they believe is a fake review. If they think it's not a review on a genuine customer experience, that's something they should address right away.
Okay. How do they address that?
With Trustpilot, they can flag it within the business portal, within their sign-in. They can flag the review to then request essentially the customer to respond with proof that they were indeed a customer. If they don't, the review can be taken down. If they do, and maybe it's fabricated of some sort, and maybe it's a very determined competitor that is trying to bash you, we do have a human team, or what we call the content integrity team, where businesses can dispute any reviews that maybe some false proof have been provided.
Okay. Interesting. All right. For our advisors watching, what other advice do you have for them? They're considering implementing testimonials. What should they do?
First off, it's all or none. Invite everybody or nobody. And that's okay if you don't choose to invite everybody, but the people that do write a review, respond to them right away. Be very proactive. It's another thing for financial advisors to keep an eye on. It's another thing to put on their laundry list, but it's something that doesn't take too much time. And if you do it on a weekly basis, you can really stay on top of your online reputation, which now is crucial. And you're able to leverage online reviews in an industry that previously couldn't get new business other than word of mouth referral or cold calling or events or networking, things like that. But two, it's financial trust has been relatively low over the last decade or so. So with this new avenue, financial advisors and institutions have a very big opportunity to make their voice and their customers' voices heard.
I love that. Yeah. All right, advisors, you heard it. Now you know. Tom, thank you so much for, all of your insight on testimonials and reviews. And again, for our audience watching, let me put this up. Here is the Trustpilot guide on how they recommend you go about getting reviews and what to do with them. Yeah, this was great.
Thank you, Callie.
All right. Speaking of reviews, join us next Monday as we talk about how fintech actually improves your client's experience and increases your chances of getting those better reviews. That's right. We're talking with Connor Sung and Emily Kuchel of eMoney. So join us next Monday and learn all about it. And what can it mean for your business? What should you implement? And until then, have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you then.